Tuesday, we had a big job, and I was asking Caleb if he heard the whole story, because I don't always get the whole story, let alone does a customer be transparent about everything or the stories, or, hey, my car has a problem, and then I look at that system and the parts cannon was fired at it, shit's unplugged, stuff's not done right, Amazon, eBay, parts store stuff. Some stuff you can get away with that, some of that. So that's what I mean by that. So anyway, the customer we didn't know, 2 months old estimate, shows up to get the work done. We don't know the history of the car. We evaluated it. Now we're going to dig into it and get it repaired because so many systems had problems. Jude's the mechanic on duty. And it was an all-day job that it shouldn't have been an all-day job because of parts issues. Now, how about that? We order everything by VIN number, and we have parts issues. Are you shocked? No, we're still having parts issues between, this is what I got, here's the VIN number, help me out. Even at the dealership. I just went to a salvage yard, same crap. They can't get it right, and it's 2025. Caleb's actually working. For all the guys that say we never do any work in here. There's Caleb over there working in 2Bay. We just don't show all the work because of, I don't know, no specific reason. Why bore you with all the work?
Well, yeah.
The conversation's where it's at. Yeah, so, and it's filters, it's valve cover, it's tune-up, it's control arms, it's motor mounts, sway bar links. There's a couple declines for some things. Manifold catalytic converter, so that exhaust, excuse me, I'm gonna sneeze. Manifold catalytic converter, not an easy job. Got to loosen the subframe, pull a lot of things apart. Car had an exhaust leak. The motor mounts vibrated so bad you would think it was an earthquake on top of the exhaust. So now we get the car quiet. The front end's not rattling, knocking. The exhaust is not loud. The motor mounts are good. You can actually hear the blower motor turn on. How about that? Or the windshield washer spray. That's how loud this car was. Jude finishes the job, goes for a road test. I said, how's everything feel? He's like, feels great. I'm like, good. He doesn't have any questions. Customer takes the car. And then he shows up yesterday.
Yeah, 2 days later.
2 days later. And I said to Jude, I'm like, strange. He goes, well, maybe he's back to get the brakes or whatever else he declined done. I'm like, I doubt it. But that does happen.
I was up there when he walked in and prefaced by saying, I do want to say you guys did a great job. It's phenomenal, fantastic.
Oh, so he did.
He talked us up first. He wasn't mad about
it. Yeah, I'm sure compared to what he was driving to the product that we delivered to him, it's fantastic. So I said to Jude, you better go up there. It's part of what you do is knowing that you met your customers' expectations and your own expectations, right? Caleb will tell you, and anyone will tell you, I do not give somebody back a car that's not fixed purposely. And I know a lot of shops that do it, trust me. I show it here in videos every day. Our goal is to fix the car and give it back to you and pray that we don't have any problems because of product issues, not installation issues. So I hear Jude go for a road test, and I hear that the car is audibly noisier based on my experience. I'm hearing that through the bay door. Customer's concerns was, it sounds like it has an exhaust leak. And he said, I can hear air in my dashboard, which I was like, all right. I mean, the cabin air filter was so clogged. Is he noticing the vent doors closed a little bit? He's not really sure. You know, when you drive a car around that's been ragged out and not taken care of, that once you get your car back quiet from us, you're like, oh, now I notice this, now I notice that. It happens all the time. You come in with a bucket of bolts rattling, banging, clanging, and then I fix all the major issues, and then I go for a road test, and I don't necessarily feel that what I hear that's a minor issue is actually a major issue to the customer, because now their car's quiet. They don't hear all that, all the parts falling off their car or an exhaust leak, and then they're like, hey, what'd you do to my car? I'm like, yeah, I made it better, that's what I did. So then Jude brings it in, and I look at the air box, and I'm like, did you leave the air box like this? And he's like, I don't think so. He goes, but the bolts were a little ragged out, Of course, like I said, we don't know the history and everything's plastic. He did take all that out to do mounts and an air filter. And we didn't do an oil change on us, which was strange. Like, you're in for all this recon work and repair work, and it wasn't getting an oil change. And I'm going to get to that point. So, like, all right, I said, pull all the airbox screws out. I don't care if it was your fault or somebody else's fault. My expectations are that if we touch it and it can't be fixed right, you advise the customer that, hey, your airbox is worn out, you need an airbox, or I have to do something else. He's like, I don't really remember leaving it like this, and I'm like, if this is the type of work you're putting out, then I'm gonna have a problem. So Jude knew I was serious, and I am serious about shit like that. So then I go inside the car, and I'm going through the vent controls, and I'm flipping the doors and all this stuff, and I'm like, I hear it, and the blower motor sounds good, doesn't sound like it has a bearing problem or there's debris in the cage. And I was like, all right, let me just crawl down here, and then I see that the cabin air filter door is open a little bit. And I'm like, is this the type of work you're doing? I was like, I got the air box that's open a little bit. Cabin air filter box is open a little bit. He's like, honestly, Ant, it's not normal for me. And I said, I agree with you, but I said, but I have to question because this is my job, right? Customer's back. So I was like, all right, no big deal. Mod the air box, use our screws because I have stuff here to take care of that stuff. I said, and correct the issue with the cabin air filter door. And then I quality check it, and I send up, then my notes up to the counter is, 1, aftermarket catalytic converters definitely sound a little different. 2, clogged cabin air filter to non-clogged cabin air filter. You definitely are going to notice a difference in the air moving through your vents and sometimes the sound on a 10-year-old or 15-year-old blower motor. And it wasn't really super loud noises. When we make your car quiet, like so quiet, you can actually hear other things. And then I didn't drive it after Jude was done. I kind of figured those little things were the issues that he was complaining about. So now I'm aggravated with Jude, but then I didn't know if it was a tech problem here or a tech problem someplace else. Well, it turns out when he left here, he had a coupon for 50% off Jiffy Lube oil change. That's the story. So when he left here, he went to the Clowns to get an oil change, and the Clowns told him he needed a cabin air filter and an air filter. And this is the true story. He didn't say this before he came in complaining about the work. He said this after that, and I was like, well, that explains everything.
Well, he was also, I think, under the assumption that they never actually checked because we had just done it.
Who knows? Like, when does Jude leave anything apart? Never. When do you leave anything apart? Never. That's never here. So just say that. That's never here. And if it does, it's caught before it leaves or on a road test and comes back, and that happens in others.
In my early days, I used to leave fans unplugged a lot when I was doing rads. So we would catch it during the bleeding process.
Yeah. So then I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. They're running a 50% oil change coupon. And I guarantee this came from the owner or the manager or general managers. You better be selling some services to the customers coming in for 50% off oil changes. Guarantee it. You have to. You can't give away a product for 50% and not sell any upsell products or services. That's upsell there. I don't call it an upsell here. There was brand new filters in those boxes. You think they gave a shit if they were new or not? No, they were told sell.
Yeah.
So he went to the Clowns. Now here's a even more how I solidify that it wasn't you. You just spent $4,000 here. You go down the street, and your car doesn't sound right? You're going to turn the blower on. You're going to accelerate. You're going to hear these noises. He didn't call.
You're going to turn right back around.
Typically, you would turn right back around and say, hey, something's not right. That's normal behavior. Is this guy exhibiting normal behavior? I'm going to say, yeah, he's a normal dude because he showed up here 2 days later after he went to the Clowns for a 50% off oil change, and then his air box was open or left loose and the cabin air filter. So they probably already automatically assumed, because they think they're such the friggin' salesmen over there that they got busted lying to the customer that, oops, I just paid for that shit at Meineke. 100%. If you're getting charged for it, you're getting it. And if I can't do the job and you still want the part, I'll hand you the part. You just said to me the other day, I can't do a fuel injection service on this guy's car. The fuel's too low.
Yeah.
No big deal. Charge them to put gas in it, or tell them to fuel up and come back and we'll do it. You're still going to get the service from me. But then the customer continues telling Rachel the story that he already knew that we did that. And he was confident in everything we did. Of course, feel the condition of your car now. Like, yeah. That he told them, yeah, I'm good. I'll never be back. 50% off oil change. Like, my oil change for his car was $60 for full synthetic. And I think she said he paid $30-something. Yeah, you got $30-something opportunity from him to stick it in your ass.
I found a receipt from the Lubers in her car, and she had $26 off, and it was supposed to be an $86 oil change. Came out to $60.
I see that they're doing a lot of discounted services, but their goal is to sell you high profit and services that they can do. That's a fact. Now, if it's needed, I get it. I'll never tell anyone not to do maintenance. The only time I tell people not to do maintenance is when they have required safety issues first.
Yes.
So safety issues, tires, brakes, belts, radiators, water pumps, all that before a cabin filter, an air filter, a flush, any of that. Repairs before the maintenance. That's what you have to do when you can't do both at the same time.
I don't think so, right?
I warned you last night about this.
Well, they're telling me.
Yeah, about these strong arms for this. This car last night, I said to you, because it's a retractable hardtop, we may not be able to get the right
I
part.
told everybody that.
So call Infinity and get the part numbers. And this way we're like proactive here. Yes, so I will tell you this. I would have given that customer a free oil change.
You how much they spent?
I would have given it to him. To just know that I wouldn't see him back from some other shop screwing up my work or trying to take advantage of him. Because that's exactly what they did, was they just tried to rip him off. We put brand new filters and cabin filters in his car. He left here. He never called and complained. The day he drove home, the morning of, 2 days later shows up complaining about his car's got all these sounds. After he left, Jiffy Lube. How about that? Stick to the repair guys in the shop. You go into the quick lube, you go into your regular mechanic, it just causes problems. Just causes problems. Now we don't know what they do, what they didn't do. I mean, how many times I see a car come out of a quick lube and there's no coolant in the coolant bottle? They don't care. They don't care. You know what the box says? We checked it. we checked it. You didn't check it because the car is going to blow up because you left the coolant low. It doesn't take much for today's cars to overheat with that little bit of coolant that's in the cooling systems today.
Well, I checked the checklist on the receipt over here.
Yeah.
It said they're supposed to check the differentials.
Yeah.
They're full. And then check front differential, check transfer case, check
They
rear
didn't check
differential.
nothing.
It said NA next to all of them.
Yeah. No. It should have just been, sorry, Mr. Customer. You've never done them. They're due. We're not checking them. That's it. Pretty simple. You know, when a customer asks us to check the diff, when's the last time it's been done? It needs to be done. Plain and simple. Us opening up the differential and taking bolts out and all that
Yeah.
cost you $25 or $50 just to check a diff nowadays. Check transmission fluid, scan tool, special equipment, drain pan, car running over your head with operating temperature. Those days are done. But anyway, stay loyal to your mechanic. I just told you this story here. You know, I almost ran up and down Jude and questioned his quality of work. And that's why I made him go up there and speak to the customer. You know, small job or big job, find out what their concerns are. Be confident in your work. You know, and like I said, I have to say, he's never left air boxes or cabin air filter lids off. Now, I've seen tons that have been broken and damaged because they're not our regular customers, and that shit does happen because it's plastic. But there's ways around it all the time. We modify that stuff all the time. Thank you.